Hi, I'm Symphoneers, and today we're taking a look at Tannuk Memorial Ensign in Pauper Commander, Pauper EDH. I think Tannuk is a Pauper commander that can make the jump to, like, full power or normal EDH pretty easily. We might talk about that a little bit throughout the video, but I like Pauper EDH as a way to kind of constrain deck building, constrain the price of a deck or whatever, keep things cheap, affordable, and so on. So that's kind of why I went with a Pauper build. Anyway, before we get too deep into the deck tech, big thank you to Card Trader for sponsoring the video. Card Trader, longtime sponsor of the channel, supporter of the channel, whatever. If you want to buy Magic cards and like build this deck, you can order your cards through Card Trader using my code and link in the description. We'll get you 5% off your order. It'll get me a little kickback, helps the channel a bunch, more than you would think anyway. It all adds up. And yeah, Card Trader makes these videos possible. There's also, of course, Patreon patrons and YouTube members and stuff too. Thanks. But anyway, enough rambling through shilling and stuff. Let's get on to rambling through the actual deck. So yeah, Tannuk I liked as a commander, just because Tannuk kind of instantly reminded me of the other Pauper EDH deck I've built out in Black Waltz number 3, in that it is a group ping commander, and I think group pinging is a kind of economic or like good budget game plan that can, I don't know, punch a table efficiently. Even if you don't win, hey, you dealt 20 damage to everyone, like, not too bad. So yeah, that's kind of the basic reason why I selected Tannuk. And also, between Black Waltz and Tannuk, you get Jund covered, which is nice for the purposes of, like, slowly filling out a Pauper cube, maybe. And then within Tannuk itself, or, like, again, thinking about just general, I don't know, collection management or whatever, it gives me access to green. I don't have a lot of paper Magic cards, and having access to green means I can, like, get Llanowar elves and stuff into a bunch of those kinds of staples in my paper collection, and a bunch of, like, green ramp and stuff that's good in Commander and so on. And yeah, there's a lot of, like, little kind of supporting reasons or, like, odd reasons why Tannuk leapt out to me as being, like, the thing to do from Edge of Eternities as far as, like, efficient Pauper budget commander go. Anyway, kind of rambling and stuff out of the way, moving on to the actual deck, we have a handful of landfall payoffs, the simplest ones being, like, Sabotender, Cactus Pretender, if you're unfamiliar. I don't know. I watched a whole long video explaining a bunch of the Final Fantasy cards and stuff, and basically the only thing I retained was, like, Cactus Pretender. It's a fake cactus. Whee! Sorry, yeah, anyway. Sabo Pretender, Elfsworn Giant. Also, we have some token generation from Spore Mound and Elfsworn Giant. These just, like, Sabo Tender pinging like Tannuk, and then Elfsworn Giant and Spore Mound giving us creature creation means that we can kind of layer in some additional payoffs and staples in, like, Impact Tremors and Molten Gatekeeper. Both of these will, ping things as creatures enter. So ideally we have our, Spore Mound and Elfsworn Giant down, and we can get, like, multiple Impact Tremor pings off of lands entering, and that's neat. But even if you don't have those, like, top-end payoffs in place, just, hey, playing out creatures, Impact Tremoring people, pinging the table kind of fits in with what Tannuk is doing, and is a, like, good kind of staple card to have. Anyways, that's kind of why I wanted to pick it up. We also have a Sprout Swarm in here, right? What is it? 1 into green, instant with Convoke and Buyback. Make a 1/1 Saproling creature token. If I got all of the text correct, we'll see if I did. Anyway, this is in the deck just because if we're doing, like, the token creature creation and stuff, this is a way to just snowball that, or, like, lean into the Impact Tremors thing and so on, and yeah. We feeding off all of that like creature creation and stuff too. We have Dark Dweller Oracle. Ideally, again, we have the Spore Mound and Elsworn Giant popping off and giving us a lot of things we can feed into the Dark Dweller Oracle for card advantage. But even if we're not doing that, just having it down and being like, oh no, someone's going to shoot Tannuk. Well, feed it into the Dark Dweller Oracle, maybe get a card out of things, and yeah. Just a kind of like value-y card advantage thing in the deck. Moving on to like our ramp cards, there are a lot of them. We have Sammy's Curiosity, just a nice kind of Wayfarer's Bauble alternative from Edge of Eternities. What Egg of Eternities, crack Egg of Eternities wide open. I don't know, sorry, brain ADD moment. Horizon Spellbomb. It's like a Cultivate or whatever, but it's an artifact. Woo! It's a good little spellbomb. We have a Neverwinter Dryad in here as well. We generally prefer the actual creature ways of getting an additional land into play. Sorry, I didn't even talk about Tannuk, or like I didn't even mention, we really care about hitting 2 lands a turn with Tannuk. We like the creatures because they kind of feed into the Impact Tremors Molten Gatekeeper stuff, but all of them kind of represent a way to get an additional land into play to trigger Tannuk for the second time and draw a card, like get that card advantage rolling. Sorry, the focus is a little bit wonky. Yeah, get that card advantage rolling. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of lost track of how I was rambling through this, but yeah, that is a major theme of the ramp in the deck anyway. It is like Dawn-Treader Elk. It's not a wildly exciting card, but it's a creature that lets us get multiple lands into play at common. Sakura Tribe Elder, the classic, the standard, the standby Steve? Right? I don't know. Yavimaya Elder, too, in here. Galactic Wayfarer, new include. I think people, I don't actually know if Lander tokens have made their way into like full-on Commander. I don't kind of keep tabs on Commander in that way or like to that level of granularity, but I like Lander tokens in general. I think they are very strong and good. So like Galactic Wayfarer, giving you one, good enough for me. Playing Wood Elves and stuff in here too. One nice thing, or like an interesting thing about playing such a density of cards that get basics out of the deck is that it actually does perform meaningful deck thinning. Because like 1 or 2 of these cards, that makes a 1 or 2% difference or whatever in your odds of drawing a non-land card. Who cares? Are you really optimizing around that? Etc, etc. People will say, I don't know, like I've heard people express that take anyway. When you're playing like 20 of them or something, that can actually like pull out not your entire mana base, but like a huge chunk of your mana base. The 5th one or the 10th one or whatever suddenly represents a like 5% increase in the odds of you drawing a non-land card. So yeah, part of what makes the strategy work, or like makes the deck work, is just playing the raw density of things grabbing lands out of the deck. We have a Farhaven Elf in here too. Nice pretty Kodama's Reach, full frame alt art. Kodama's Reach into Cultivate. Sorcery, basically Kodama's Reach again. Whee! Right, sorry, rereading, yeah, okay, anyway. Harrow 2. This is not strictly related to this deck. The dirtiest I've ever felt playing Brawl on Arena, which is certainly where I get like the bulk of my, 100 card Magic playing time by the numbers. The dirtiest I've ever felt playing Brawl was mana leaking a Harrow on curve. Just like, ooh, do I need to report myself to the Hague for war crimes? Yeah, try not to get your Harrow countered. I don't know. It's a thing. Scare Tiller. We have a handful of things in the deck that sacrifice lands as part of ramping. Springbloom Druid being the one I have at hand is like, sack a land, get 2 lands, wee! So we have ways to stock the graveyard and like fetch lands, Evolving Wilds or whatever too. Ways to stock the graveyard with lands. Scare Tiller is a thing that can just put those lands onto the battlefield when it attacks. So it's not you know, it's a 4 mana 1/4. It's not wildly exciting in a generic sense, but it can be a powerful recurring source of ramp, which is unusual at common anyway, so, you know, Scare Tiller, a fun include. We do have normal mana dorks and stuff in here as well. Elvish Mystic, Llanowar Elves, These Ladies Gay, good for them, good for them. Watch my web fishing playthrough? I don't know, to get... Yeah, anyway. Wild Growth and Utopia Sprawl too, just like the 1 mana accelerants that are good and spicy. Arbor Elf, we don't have a ton of, like, cheeky combo things we're doing with Arbor Elf, but it is like, hey, stick a Utopia Sprawl on a forest, Arbor Elf that forest, great. You're ramping, you're gaming. We have an Orcish Lumberjack in the deck as well. Orcish Lumberjack, just a iconic to me card that, like, works with Scare Tiller doing the Scare Tiller thing. Yeah, card that I wanted to include. Good way to jump up in mana and just, like, Orcish Lumberjack represents fast mana. Basically, we can't play Mox, but hey, we sure can play this thing that lets us, you know, add 3 mana. Don't worry about sacrificing a forest. You can tap the forest before you sacrifice it to Orcish Lumberjack and get a 4 total mana out of that land. And yeah, like, use that 4 mana to make up for setting yourself back a land. It's fine, don't worry about it. Priest of Titania in the deck as well. One of the only 2 mana accelerants. We'll get to you, a Narcomancer. One of the only 2 mana accelerants, just because it can, again, tap for multiple mana, which means it's nice and spicy. We do have some generic cost reducers. We'll get more into why as the deck tech continues, but we have a Narcomancer, Thornscape Familiar, right? And Thunderscape Familiar. Thunderscape Familiar is probably the better one, or the more justifiable one, in terms of our deck is green heavy. I think we're like 70-30 green, or sorry, 70-30 green to red. So it's probably the better one. I mentioned this in the Black Waltz video, but part of the reason that like these are in the deck is I just wanted the cycle of familiars, and aside from the particular goofy things that we're doing with them, yeah, just value, or like there's some value in filling out the collection in a way, my like overall paper collection in a way that I like and find exciting. We have card draw, card advantage creatures in like Elvish Visionary. Sylvan Ranger grabs land, puts it into hand. I talked about it in the Black Waltz video, but just like getting lands into hand, cool and good. Hitting your land drops every turn for like 8 turns or whatever can put you way farther ahead on mana than you might think. Or yeah, it's just yeah, solid. Oh god, Sprouting Vines, Storm of Vines, or whatever. It's a storm card. Instant, search your land for basic, put it into hand, storm. I don't know that this is a particularly good include. It was just funny to me. And like getting 3 basics into hand or whatever, sure, great. Lead the Stampede, or sorry, yeah, we have Lead the Stampede and You Meet in a Tavern. Both of these are just kind of generic card advantage options. We have like 50 creature cards or something like that. I forget the exact number offhand, but I think the math works out that you should regularly hit 2 to 3 creatures off of these, and then like You Meet in a Tavern is sort of an overrun, or like you can use the Start a Brawl aggressive mode on it anyway. We have some auras in the list as well. Snake Umbra is, I think, the only bit of commander protection that we're playing in the list. You can just slap it on Tannuk is the idea, and then the Umbra armor will, you know, stop Tannuk from dying, and great. Also, whenever this deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. Hey, that's a curiosity effect. Tannuk pings everyone. Pings the table. Snake Umbra on Tannuk will let you draw 3 cards when you do the Tannuk thing. So, yeah, great. Like, genuinely very strong bit of protection. It is 3 mana, but, you know, it is fun. Dragon Fangs and Dragon Breath. We haven't gotten to our top end yet, but these are goofy auras that just let our top end punch harder. They represent kind of like goofy top end, a goofy form of card advantage in that, like, neither of these is amazing. They're kind of like the runes from Kaldheim in that they're like +1/+1, or like +1/+0 haste, etc. for 2 mana. But like, whereas the runes from Kaldheim just say draw a card on them, these will recur anytime that we play a giant stupid thing. And I don't know, they seemed fun to me. I wanted them anyway. More sensibly, or like getting on to more sensible forms of card advantage, we have a couple of creatures that have mana ability that digs for creature cards. I think we're playing 3 of them total. Yeah, I think Beast Rider Vanguard is the best one because it's 2 mana. You can feed 4 and a green into it to look at the top 3, reveal a permanent, put it into hand, etc., etc. They're all slightly different in terms of like the costing and stuff. I think Beast Rider Vanguard and Vivian's Grizzly are the best. Brightwood's Tracker, it's so expensive, and it's a tap ability. You can't do it multiple times in a turn, in other words. So, like, I might cut the Brightwood Tracker, but it felt responsible to put in. And these, sorry, if you're unfamiliar with kind of like Pauper and Pauper card advantage or whatever, you just want to have mana outlets in Pauper, or like ways to reliably generate card advantage. And even though these abilities are not tremendously exciting in terms of like 5 mana to get a card in hand, they do represent just like, oh, everyone is, scrounging for plays or whatever. Someone did a Wrath or something. Well, play this, hammer on it 3 times. Like we're in a late game scenario. Great, you are up 3 creatures, everyone else is still gasping for plays, etc. That's kind of like a best case scenario for what the card is doing. But yeah, anyway, it gives you an option to just like convert mana into card advantage, which we like. It's so good. We are also playing Ball's Invoker because we are a ramp deck, and Ball's Invoker is just a way to burn out the table, basically. Sink a bunch of mana into Scorching Ray, and hey, Tannuk's already been pinging everyone. Impact Tremors has already been pinging everyone. Maybe you can just hammer on Ball's Invoker twice and kill the table. Great. That, again, like best case scenario or whatever. We are playing a Wildheart Invoker. I maybe like this a little bit less than the Ball's Invoker, but similar to like it and the card advantage mana dump creatures that we're playing. Just another thing that you can sink our ramp mana into to like kill someone, basically. Like activate this once or twice, hit them with Tannuk. Great. You are, if not taking them out of the game, certainly, reducing someone's life total pretty significantly. Moving on to interaction, we don't have a ton of interaction in the list. I mostly wanted the list to focus on like ramping and doing goofy stuff. But I felt some removal or like some interaction was responsible. We have Orbital Plunge as the like biggest piece of removal. This was such an obvious include to me, just again because of like Lander token. Great. Love a Lander token. And it deals 6 to stuff, and 6 damage is enough to kill most things. So even though it's a little bit expensive at 4 mana, I think it's better than a lot of like draft removal or whatever anyway. A lot of deal 6s that red has access to because it can help us ramp and stuff. We are also playing Fiery Fall because it has basic land cycling. Woo! It's just a deal 5 that can grab a basic. So even though, again, it's like, this is, I would say, probably worse than Orbital Plunge, but I think of this as more a part of the mana base, and like, hey, this part of the mana base can occasionally kill something. And that's kind of like a way for me to up the interaction in the deck without having to like drop down the playables that I'm more excited about or like cut other playables. Is that good reasoning for including Fiery Fall? I don't. We're also playing Spite Bellows because it is a creature that can deal 6 to a thing. We like having a creature be part of our removal suite because it works with impact tremors and stuff. And the evoke clause can be handy. There were some other reasons this works with stuff too. We have ways of recurring Spite Bellows, or at least one way of recurring Spite Bellows that I don't think we have. We'll get to it. Yeah, it's a weirder piece of interaction, but I was just like, hey, why not play this weird thing instead of, I don't know, more standard cards or whatever. We're playing a Slag Drill Scrapper in the list too. This is just a 1-mana way to like convert all of the lands that we've been putting into play into card advantage. And this is good. You're never excited to hammer on the ability for a card like this, but just having a clean, efficient way to ensure that you have card velocity and can keep drawing cards and stuff, it's solid. Oh, we're getting into the goofy part of the deck. So, the sticky, where's the, there you are. I looked at other Kavus that we could be playing, and most of them were not great, in my opinion, or not super exciting. But there is Horned Kavu. And Horned Kavu has a very odd effect of when it comes into play, when it ETBs, return a red or green creature you control to its owner's hand. So this can just boot itself back to hand. The actual kind of like dream with Horned Kavu. We don't have full-on combos in the deck, at least I don't think I put any infinites in here, but like, hey, we have an Anarchomancer down. We have an Elvish Visionary or something. We Elvish Visionary for 1 mana, then we boot it back to hand with Horned Kavu, then we play it again for 1 mana, and yay, we're gaming. We have other things, or other things that are a little bit spicier. For like the closest thing we have to an infinite. It's not an infinite, but like we can use Horned Kavu to boot Sticky Tongue Sentinel back to hand. Sticky Tongue Sentinel can return Horned Kavu, or sorry, we have 1 more of these. Invasive Species. If we have cost reducers down, we can use Anarchomancer and the Familiars. We can just kind of juggle cards back to hand repeatedly and like keep casting creatures, and that gets us a lot of impact tremors effects or Molten Gatekeeper pings or whatever. So it's stupid. I know it's goofy, but listen, I wanted to have like at least something kind of like cheeky or weird in the deck, and that's kind of what I settled on for that. We do have Ivy Lane Denizen, which can help us capitalize off of doing that like weird creature juggling. Ivy Lane Denizen, of course, breaks or like has infinite combos with a bunch of cards in other formats. I don't think we're playing anything that's infinite with it in this one. But I wanted it for just for my collection in general, and then yeah, as part of like doing that stupid juggling, we can put a bunch of counters on something with Ivy Lane Denizen. A bunch of counters on something like Evolution Witness is maybe the best Ivy Lane Denizen friend, just because we can put the counters on Evolution Witness, get lands back to hand to get creatures back to hand, etc., etc. I don't think there might be 1 or 2 other ways to put a counter on Evolution Witness in the deck. It can put a counter on itself, obviously. But yeah, that Ivy Lane Denizen is the big spicy one, is like, do stupid Kavu juggling, recur 6 things to hand. Yay! Memes! No, moving into the top end, we have Fierce Empath. It's not itself a top end card, but it lets us tutor for top end cards. And I talked about this in the Black Waltz video, but I really like playing tutors in decks and like 100 card formats in particular, just because they improve consistency. And Fierce Empath, or like if we have our cost reducers and you can play a Fierce Empath for 2 and then play Fang Dragon or something for less for cheaper 2, that's handy. So yeah, that's good. I like doing the goofy thing consistently. I like the kind of flexibility of tutors, and yeah, you don't have to be playing CEDH or whatever for tutors to be a thing that you should play. You can just play tutors because they let you do stupid things more regularly, or like they let you meme harder. I don't know. Like, anyway. I'm kind of like bracing against a theoretical commander player that I know is like, well, either you should be comboing hard or not including them. Is like, no. Anyway, goofy top-end stuff. Maelstrom Colossus. Initially, I had more Cascade and stuff in the deck because I wanted it to be a kind of goofy in that direction. I ended up liking the stupid, like, Kavu juggling stuff kind of more, so I cut back on Cascade stuff a bit. But we still do have a Maelstrom Colossus as just like, hey, maybe Maelstrom Colossus will cascade into a annoyed Altasaur. We do have some Cascade, or like a fair bit of our top end is Boarding Party. That's the other one. The other big Cascade idiot. It's like, hey, Maelstrom Colossus into annoyed Altasaur, into Boarding Party, into something else? Great. Is that likely to happen? No. You are probably just going to hit, a Llanowar Elves or a Sammy's Curiosity or something, but that's the fun of Cascade. That's the meme of Cascade. And all of this too is like, Cascade in this case too, as far as additional synergy stuff goes, is like, hey, Cascade can help you find impact tremors, or it represents 2 creatures entering if it hits a creature for our impact tremors, or like our creature pinging stuff. So yeah, it's a good. We have Fang Dragon in our top end too. This is just a big idiot that is a sweeper, also like the Forktail sweep. It was a nice way to get a little bit of additional interaction into the deck that we can like tutor for with Fierce Empath. Yeah, and like get the deck being a little bit more interactive while still playing, a big stupid dragon or whatever. Ulamog's Crusher in here too, just because, I don't know, iconic. Sort of. I don't even think it's like especially good in multiplayer or like a multiplayer Pauper EDH. I just wanted Ulamog's Crusher because it's such a like icon of, Pauper ramp to me. Anyway, we do have some artifact acceleration in the deck. Just Gruul Signet, because Gruul Signet is like one of the best rocks that we can play. As far as like 2-mana accelerants go. And then I mentioned this too in the Black Waltz video, but I wanted to fill out the cycle of diamonds because having a cycle of diamonds is like more interesting and useful for me for building out a Pauper cube or something than having 7 Mind Stones, 7 copies of Mind Stone or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of why we're playing these like suboptimal, maybe, accelerants, but they work, they flesh out the collection, the paper collection nicely. We are playing an Oliphant in the deck, the Lord of the Rings Land Cycler. Again, this is one I talked about as being like, these land cyclers are really good, or I think about them as part of the mana base. They are just a way to search for a duel that has both, we're playing Generous Ent in this list as well. You can search for a duel with both basic types like Wooded Ridgeline and fix your mana that way in actual commander or whatever that can get triumphs and etc. And then we are a ramp deck. We are a deck with a ton of mana acceleration and stuff. We will just sometimes play Oliphant or like Generous Ent or whatever as a threat. And yeah, those can do some real work in the list, or like a way to have additional top end in the list while and their mana fixing, and yeah. Oh, into the actual mana base, we have like Command Tower, Wooded Ridgeline. We have the cycling lands in Tranquil Thicket, and the other one should be in here too, Forgotten Cave. I talked about this in the Black Waltz video too. You can just make a kind of more optimal and, I don't know, more boring to me mana base that is like the Gates package that is most optimally competitive in Pauper and etc. I want to focus less on that in building out these mana bases and focus more on like, hey, let's get the full cycle of the Capenna duels that crack to draw a card, or the full cycle of cycling lands and thriving lands because they work well in a cube and etc. etc. The Capenna kind of triumph fetches because those are neat, and so on. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of basics and stuff too, because we need a lot of basics to grab. And that is the main board. That is the actual deck. To talk about some alternative includes, an interesting one that I wasn't sure whether or not it should be main board was just Night Soil. It leans more into the token creation element, or like part of the deck, but it's a way to just get some graveyard hate in the list that's recurring, and you can, just hammer on it or whatever. I ended up not feeling it was quite main boardable, or like it didn't quite make the list because 2 creature cards is kind of specific. Whereas, like, if this was 2 cards of any kind, it would be more like an unlicensed hearse or whatever, in terms of just being like a 2-mana hate piece that's also threat generation and yada yada yada. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to shout it out anyway as a, like, interesting and reasonable include. Words are hard. Cav Landseeker. Also, I think might get in the list, or like might be a thing that I should include, just because it's a Kavu, which, you know, hey, Tannuk, wee, generates lander token, helps us ramp. I don't love the type of lander token it generates, like the weird state-based tracking at like, and step on your next turn, sacrifice the thing. That is basically why I didn't put it in the main, but it's a very reasonable body, makes a lander token. You can boot it back to hand with the other Kavu and like keep replaying it to generate more lander tokens and etc. Maybe that's a thing. I don't know. Very reasonable include. Nebula Dragon, another fun potential include from Edge of Eternities. Yeah, this one should maybe get in, I don't know, over like the Maelstrom Colossus or something. Shrug. Just a Flame Tongue Kavu kind of thing. That is a dragon. It's a flyer. It does good, efficient work, even though it is kind of goofy, or like 7 mana. I don't know, like just from playing Edge of Eternity's draft, I have some respect for like people playing 1 or 2 Nebula Dragons and going like, oh, I went from ahead to I am going to lose this game. So I don't know if it holds up quite as well in like multiplayer, I guess, but yeah, haven't had the games to fully validate that. Another kind of interesting top-end option you could put in here is Rapacious One. It doesn't have super strong synergies with the deck beyond the like impact tremors stuff, but just having a Rapacious One that you know, hit someone, make a bunch of Eldrazi spawn, ping everyone for, you know, 5 or 10 damage or whatever, that seems great. If I did put this in, I would maybe want to also get Rancor or something, like a way to modify its power, like have that be a stronger component of the deck. And yeah, just another interesting top-end option. And then there are a bunch of things you can do for the ramp and like land package as well that just there's so many options in terms of like Satyr Wayfinder, Croson Tusker, Fertilid. Fertilid is a great thing to catch Ivy Lane Denizen counters. Actually, maybe it should be in the main deck. It's just a little bit inefficient or something. I don't know. But Fertilid, Elvish Rejuvenator is another way to put multiple lands into play. Elvish Wild Wanderer too, another elf that puts lands into play. Deepwood Denizen can just, be more card draw or whatever. There are so many options, or like quite a few options as far as additional cards that can put lands into play and like be card advantage and yada yada yada. Woo! Lots of talking. I got through that a little bit faster than the Black Waltz video. I don't know. Let me know if you like me. This is still a long video. I still feel like the kind of strength or the particular gimmick of these videos is just like really, you know, going card by card, choice by choice, and going like, yeah, we do this because of this, and we care about Oliphant because of reasons, and etc. And I lost my train of thought entirely. That is the deck. If you liked this video, like, subscribe, etc. Check out Card Trader. Thanks again to Card Trader for sponsoring the video and making this video possible. Should you buy all your 100 cards from Card Trader? Ordering 100 cards, a little bit fiddly. Why not stop by your LGS, get like 60 of them or something, and like get the weird cards, get the hard to find cards, get the pretty alt art cards from Card Trader. Yeah. I hope you've enjoyed this budget deck. I think this one is still budget. The Black Waltz deck got more expensive. Yeah, anyway, thanks again for watching. Let me know if you liked it, or like if you want to see more videos like this, if you'd like to see me try to manage to put together some multiplayer gameplay. That's a weird, difficult ask right now, or that's not going to happen for at least a couple of months, bare minimum. But yeah. I don't know. We'll see where the future of like this type of video or whatever goes. I'd like to do more of these. I like these videos. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching the video, and an extra big thank you to the Patreon patrons and YouTube members that help make these videos possible. Hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.